I thought of Nathaniel West's novel, The Day of the Locust, in which there's a painter who paints his masterpiece is the burning of Los Angeles. Something about the burning of Los Angeles had been in the air for a long time. It broke on the news programs on the 11th of August, and from that moment on, everybody in Los Angeles was glued to their TV sets. We were actually watching what started as a riot, watching it in progress as it raged through Watts and South Central Los Angeles. I was very moved by it, and I had some feeling of wanting to go to it. Lots and lots of buildings were just in rubble. Even on a block where most of the buildings were in ruins, one would be still standing. I saw this building called the Westminster Neighborhood Association. I parked, went in. I said, I'm only one person, but as a writer, maybe I could start a writing class. So I did. I simply put up a notice saying creative writing class every Wednesday, 3 o'clock. Came back a week later. The people had really written instead suggestions as to what I could do with my workshop, where I could put it, and so forth. It was not a very encouraging reception. Wednesday after Wednesday after Wednesday, nobody showed up.
Leoma Sarah came by my house, and he said, there's this white fellow named Schulberg I want you to meet. He's come down and he's trying to start a writer's group, and I want you to just come down and check him out and see if he's for real. After seeing him come down for several days in a row, I found myself going out and talking to other people.
The interest in writing was amazing, just amazing. And everybody seemed to be, it's like all of Watts could write. Actually, an awful lot of people in Watts had a lot to say. And some of them could say it most effectively.
Because it was never there, something empty filled the gap. And since the absence was not seen, all too soon the people died. They died as babies die.
I cry. I smile. I'm here. I'm glad I'm here despite the bitter pain and fear. The pain feels good. Good, I'm here.
We went from the pantry, Westminster, to the little house on Beach Street. Little house on Beach Street got so popular that we literally had people who couldn't get in standing outside and looking in, or even reading their work through the open windows. By this time we're several hundred strong. Needing more space, we moved over to the What's Happening Coffee House, which was another large space devoted to all different arts, painting, musical group. It was fascinating, and it was also kind of fun down there. It was Stuart, and not me, who got the idea that this might well make an effective documentary for NBC.
All of us who gather here in the coffee house wonder both about the long range and the immediate prospects. Just because I've been involved in this workshop, everybody asks me, as if I possibly could know, will it be another revolt?
The Angry Voices of Watts won a special Emmy as the best documentary of the year. A pretty good friend of Bobby's told me he wanted to meet with the black militants. I sent the word out that what Bobby was looking for, and people beside the members of the workshop showed up, and it was really much worse than I anticipated. I remember listening to this attack on poor Bobby Kennedy. They were saying, we don't buy this white man's shit, and all this phony liberalism and so forth, and they weren't buying Bobby, nobody. The last night was very strange. He had just, announcement was just in that he had beaten Gene McCarthy by just under 3 points. And Sandy Van Oker came out to me and tapped me on the shoulder and said, Bud, Bobby would like to talk to you. I went in and I looked around. I didn't see Bobby at first. He was like in this corner, in the far corner of his bedroom, very strangely, sitting on cross-legged on the floor, smoking a little cigar, which I had never seen him do before. It was strange. And I sat down on the floor with him, and he said, Bud, I really said I can't get the impact of the workshop and of the people out of my mind. He said, if I win this, I would like to see if we can't do things like this on a national scale. He was thinking about it. The Democratic leader of California at that time came over. He pulled Bobby practically physically to his feet. And he said, Bobby, what the hell are you doing? You're going to miss the prime time. Get the hell. We got to get downstairs. And it was a very curious thing, I must say. I was a pretty good friend of Bobby's, and he was impressed. But I was not the logical last person to talk with Bobby before he went down. And then we all went down in the elevator, and he told us where to wait. He had planned already to cut through the pantry to get to the smaller press room, and out we go. So we were there at the far end. Actually, when this dreadful thing happened, Sirhan ran right into us. I had Sirhan in my arms for 10 seconds, I don't know how long. And he had this little tiny gun. The gun was not as big as my hand. It looked like a little toy thing that some 5-year-old kid might say, bang, bang, you're dead with. And he was still shooting, firing. I heard somebody scream, and then 30 minutes later.
Senator Robert Francis Kennedy died at 1:44 a.m. today. He was 42 years old.
We heard first that not the FBI itself, but that rogue FBI men, intense racists, had worked with someone undercover to sabotage the workshop. Ed Riggs, which turned out to be one of his pseudonyms, real moniker was Darthard Perry, really worked his way in very effectively and became kind of a lieutenant or a right-hand man to Harry Dolan in the running of the workshop. Perry actually confessed that it was he at the suggestion, to put it gently, of the FBI to burn down the building. So this poor theater that had been a supermarket burned down in the fires of '65 was burned down again. This time, apparently not by the people of Watts, but by outside forces that were determined to destroy the workshop, kill the idea.
Among other things, we wonder, now 84 and looking back on it, what regrets does Bud Schulberg have? And what of the original writers who appeared in the Angry Voices of Watts? Some have written their way out of the ghetto.
Because it was never there, something empty filled the gap.
And since the absence was not seen, all too soon the people died.
Some still struggle to.
I'm glad I'm here despite the bitter pain and fear.
The pain feels good. It's good I'm here.
Who ultimately gave the order to burn down the Watts Writers' Workshop? And finally, where's Ed Riggs, a.k.a. Darthard Perry, codenamed Othello, today?